let's get right into it. Number 6, name the noise. Imagine you're staring at your laptop and your heart is doing a drum solo it did not ask permission for. Your palms are chilly, your brain is broadcasting worst-case scenarios like a late-night infomercial. The cursor blinks, judging you like a tiny metronome of doom. Most people try to outrun that feeling with snacks and 3 just 5 minutes videos. Highly intelligent people do something weirder. They give the panic a name tag. Hi, this is deadline anxiety, intensity 7 out of 10. Symptoms include racing heart, catastrophic overthinking, and the urge to reorganize the sock drawer. Label it, and you move from starring in the disaster movie to watching it from the booth. In brain terms, you borrow resources from the limbic siren and hand them to language and control centers. Not magic, crowd control. Naming is step 1. Step 2 is cognitive distancing. I'm noticing the thought that I'm going to blow this, not I am definitely going to blow this. Tiny words, big leverage. You separate the event from the editorial. Suddenly, the bossy narrator in your skull becomes just a narrator. Now the practical side can negotiate. If the fear is about quality, what's the smallest upgrade that actually reduces risk? If the fear is time, what's a minimum viable version I can ship by 4 p.m.? You convert vibes into variables. With a label and a checklist, stress stops being a smoke monster. It becomes a maintenance ticket. Minor leak, tighten valve, recheck in 20. Punchline: your nervous system wanted to throw a tantrum in your honor. You made it hold a clipboard and do intake forms. Congratulations, your anxiety now works at reception.
Number 5, chunk and time box. Your brain loves to inflate a task until it blots out the sun. Write the report turns into an existential crisis. Director's cut, emotional commentary included. Shrink the monster. Slice it into steps. Put each step in a tiny time cage. 10 minutes, scan data. 25 minutes, rough outline. 15 minutes, hook paragraph. 20 minutes, draft charts. 10 minutes, proofread. 5 minutes, good enough check. The unknowable abyss becomes 5 domestic-sized gremlins, each small enough for a coffee break. Time boxing flips the question from, do I feel inspired, to, what's the smallest visible action in the next 15 minutes? Feelings stop being gatekeepers and become background weather. Then the micro router. If something takes under 2 minutes, do it now. If it's bigger, schedule the next block. If it doesn't move the needle, delete it. With extreme prejudice. Debug the friction, not just the task. Stuck because the goal is vague, the skill is missing, or you're scared of feedback? 3 causes, 3 fixes. Clarify the output, learn the one technique you actually need, and get early eyes on a draft before perfectionism builds a shrine. Predefine done to avoid the productivity black hole where better never becomes finished. Think panic to factory line. Inputs, outputs, QA check, power switch. You're not summoning motivation, you're building a tiny assembly line where motivation shows up because the machine is already humming. In other words, you bribed future you with structure and stole stress's favorite toy, ambiguity. Number 4, reframe the signal. There's a version of you who hears a racing heartbeat and thinks, ah yes, my doom soundtrack. Highly intelligent people treat the same symptoms like a system boot sequence. Sweat, cooling upgrade. Pulse, fuel pump online. Tunnel vision, focus mode. Cinematic depth of field, but for survival. The trick is appraisal, what your brain decides the sensation means. Threat says, I'm in danger, abort. Challenge says, I'm being mobilized for something that matters. Same physiology, different headline. Tell yourself, I'm excited, not I'm anxious, and the worksheet changes quietly. Cortisol gets a chaperone. Adrenaline becomes a stagehand. Blood flow goes to places that help you think, not places that help you sprint out of the building and start a new life as a lighthouse keeper. Turn stress into a math problem you can win. Before a big presentation, do a 90-second reframe. What's the mission? What's controllable? What's good about this pressure? This surge means my body thinks the stakes are real, which is true. Great, use it. I need sharp recall, not perfect poetry. 3 beats: hook, insight, action. Now your biology is a pit crew, not an arsonist. Talk like a sports commentator to yourself. Breathing is steady, hands are ready. Deliver the first sentence clean. When the first sentence lands, your nervous system updates. Apparently, we're not dying. Proceed with competence. If things wobble, voice cracks, slide glitches, keep the reframe alive. Good, micro reset. Sip water, smile, ask a question. You don't pretend you're calm. You pilot the energy you already have. It's Aikido for cortisol. Redirect the rush instead of blocking it with your face. Punchline: stress wasn't the villain. Interpretation was. Your body brought a free espresso. You called it poison. Take the cup, add milk, finish the chapter.
Number 3, oscillate on purpose. Picture your day like a marathon you insisted on sprinting in dress shoes. No wonder everything hurts. Do interval training for your nervous system. Deliberate sprints, intentional pit stops. Don't wait for burnout to schedule recovery. Bake recovery into the recipe so the cake doesn't collapse in the oven. Work in focused blocks, 40 to 75 minutes. Then step away for a tiny reset. Not a doom scroll, a reset. Stand up, let your eyes look far to relax focus. Take a few slow breaths with longer exhales than inhales. 5 in, 7 out. Drink water. Walk 2 minutes. Catch a little sunlight if you can. Tell your autonomic system, stand down, but keep the engines warm. Return with a fresher prefrontal cortex, not a microwaved one. Alternate load types. After heavy logic, do light admin. After social intensity, retreat to solo drafting. You're not fickle. You're cycling fuel sources so none of them quit. End blocks with clean shutdowns. Write the next sentence prompt before you stop. Park the code with a next step comment. Dump stray thoughts into a capture doc. Your brain won't spend the break clinging to the cliff by its fingernails. If your mind nags during rest, give it a chew toy. Yes, you may worry, but only while walking outside. Movement metabolizes tension your thoughts can't solve. Secret ending? Micro recovery doesn't cost time, it refunds attention. 5 minutes of reset prevents 45 minutes of meltdown. You surf stress instead of letting the wave execute a perfect suplex. Treat your brain like a battery. It acts like a battery. Treat it like a muscle that gets stronger through cycle and rest. It stops pretending to be a phone stuck at 3% for the rest of your natural life.
Number 2, pre-commit rules. Picture future you at 4 p.m. Hair slightly chaotic, eyelid twitching, one email away from discovering fight or flight or fake your own disappearance. Rescue that version before chaos hits. Write rules when you're calm, follow them when you're not. Contract law with yourself. Use implementation intentions. If X happens, then I do Y. If I feel the rising oh no wave, I take 3 slow breaths, write the next single sentence, and send a draft. No flourishes. Swap improvisation, Panic's favorite, for choreography. Panic cannot dance. Design the room so stress has fewer toys. Notifications off by default. 2-tab rule for deep work. Do not disturb calendar blocks named things like meeting, keyboard. Not control freak energy, just acknowledging your attention is more expensive than any app's feelings. Build friction architecture. Make bad choices annoying, good choices easy. Phone on a shelf across the room. Dock open with the cursor parked on the next line. Water bottle within reach so your brain can't negotiate a dehydration drama. Keep a to-don't list.
No new commitments after 3 p.m. No rewriting an email once it's clear and polite. No quick checks during focus blocks that historically become archaeological digs through the internet. Pre-approve recovery. One short walk after each heavy block. One friendly call after a brutal meeting. Lights out by a non-negotiable time, 4 nights a week. It's a stress budget. Spend where returns are real, not where ego wants applause. When turbulence hits, the rules steer. If-then scripts kick in. The environment nudges. The budget reminds you where your energy belongs. You still feel stress, you just don't debate it. That silent debate is what burns you out. Pre-commitment says, court is adjourned, verdict already filed. Punchline, willpower is a terrible nightclub bouncer. Design is the fire marshal who shows up at 9 a.m. with a clipboard and shuts down the nonsense before anyone orders glitter shots.
Number 1, values compass. Sometimes stress is loud because the goal is borrowed. You're working for a scoreboard that isn't yours. Someone else's metrics, timeline, highlight reel. Tune your stress with a values compass. 3 or 4 words for how you want to show up, regardless of the scoreboard. Clarity, kindness, courage. Or depth, utility, honesty. Sounds like a motivational poster until you use it in the wild. Big meeting in 10 minutes? Ask, what does clarity do first? Open with a simple version and one concrete example. Kindness next? Frame feedback as service. Courage? Ask for the decision today. You're not pretending the stakes are low, you're orienting to a North Star that doesn't evaporate when the Wi-Fi blinks. Here's the psychology. Values-based action lowers avoidant coping and keeps your prefrontal cortex online under load. In ACT terms, you accept discomfort along for the ride. Commit to a valued move anyway. Watch your brain stop treating every sensation like prophecy. Add self-compassion, and you short-circuit the shame spiral that turns one mistake into a personality diagnosis. Example, you bomb part of a presentation. Old script, I'm incompetent. Value script, I care about craft, so I'll send a 3-line follow-up clarifying the weak section. I'll block 20 minutes tomorrow to practice out loud, because depth means rehearsal, not rumor. Same stress, different map. Embarrassment becomes tuition. Journal short, 1 minute answering, what would a person living my values do next? Not next week, next. Draft the email, fix the chart, apologize cleanly, go for the walk, log the lesson. You get harder to rattle because your identity isn't rented from outcomes. It's built from repeated moves aligned with who you're trying to be. Stress goes from judge to weather report, sometimes stormy, always temporary, rarely a reason to abandon the journey. When your compass is steady, pressure stops being a verdict and becomes fuel. You don't need perfect conditions, you need a direction, and one step you can actually take. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.